Welcome back, everybody, to the Who Do You Like Here podcast. Joey Cino with me always is the kid back for the 2025 Preakness show. We 2 week little hiatus. So we did the Derby. Two, right?
Two,
Yeah,
2 week, yeah.
2 weeks. Yeah, did the Derby. Hope you all tuned in for that. We got a lot of follows and listens over that week. Good. I don't want to say good payout. Good handicapping on our parts from the podcast. Give ourselves a little pat on the back. I had to go a little deeper. I did like Burnham Square also in that top position. I thought Sandman had an opportunity. But congratulations, kid, on your basically single connection. I know you like the 8 per second. You're pretty much sovereignty and journalism the whole way.
Right. Yeah, it was a good call. I think after Rodriguez scratched, that was my second choice was sovereignty. So, it ended up paying off in the long run here, but
Made it pretty easy. You made it look pretty
yeah.
easy. I got to say, when it comes to the Kentucky Derby, you've been pretty good.
Yeah.
Podcast wise, maybe prior to the podcast, not so great.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, ever since like Authentic, I think was like kind of when it's like kicked off. Obviously there was a lot more tied to Authentic than the other horses, but yeah, in that stretch, I've called the Derby a handful of times. So
yeah,
it's
been fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe I'm only built for the Kentucky Derby, and I'm only built for the Derby, like the race, not the rest of the card. So,
No, you do fine. You do fine. I would say that the track played really weird that day. There was obviously a lot of moisture out there, and we did have to change up a little bit on our original picks. It did get wet Friday, especially.
Yeah.
So Friday was figuring that we were going to get the rain after the Oaks got in, but unfortunately, that came a little sooner than expected. Still had the winner nonetheless. Chalk was probably the easiest Oaks Derby double that I've had in a while, but not the payout obviously you're looking for when there almost seemed that obvious. Sovereignty is what made it. Journalism I did not have in the double, and that would have paid pretty much peanuts. Thoughts on the exotic payouts in the Derby? Let's talk about that. What's your thoughts?
I think, after I thought about it, I was very disappointed for what it paid out. I thought we were looking at a lot better payouts for the Derby just because, obviously inflated pools. But I think this year, after I was thinking about it, was probably the first year in a while where there wasn't a true favorite. I mean, not there were people that were high on journalism, but there wasn't enough people that were sold on that horse to take more money. I mean, I think I saw more people on sovereignty than I did on journalism, which is crazy because journalism went off as a favorite. So I think there are more combinations that were out there. I think more people are spreading the wealth maybe a little bit more, and kind of limited the payouts in that perspective. I think everybody was across the board and it kind of just evened out and more people are on it than I thought, at 7-1 or 8-1 or whatever they went off at.
Yeah, sovereignty was 7-1. I think a lot of people like journalism in the exotics, and really, I think there was more key positions in the second position with horses above and below, and it would make sense. It's kind of how we saw it. We like journalism, but we didn't like journalism on top. I'm not saying that we swung the exotics, but I think a lot of people were triggering that kind of the same feel is that should be there, should make a run, but not convincingly enough that it should win, and then who to put underneath.
Right.
If journalism wins, I think the payouts are almost identical, even though journalism was a 4-1 favorite and sovereignty went down to 7-1 from 10-1.
Yeah.
And I still think the payouts were going to be modest, right around the same price, because if journalism in the first two spots definitely affected what the cost was going to be, journalism not in the top three, now we're talking some payouts. Right. Now you're going to get really, even with a 7-1 in sovereignty, you're going to get the payouts you kind of like to see in a Kentucky Derby.
Yep. Yeah, it's just I think it was a weird Derby overall too, because all day it was chalk. Everybody was looking at if you're not looking at the favorite, you're looking at the second choice, and that was what was really winning. There was really no major upset, so yeah, the track was really playing pretty true to what the form said, and how these guys are running, and again, I think all that plays a factor. But I mean, take what you can get. You still call it Derby winner, it's great, but yeah. You're expecting with a 7-1 on top, a 3-1 in second, and whatever Baeza went off at, what was it, like
12-1?
Yeah, or something
Maybe
like
somewhere
that.
around
So
there.
you're looking on a normal day that probably pays, on a big car or like a decent car that probably is going to pay for $1, probably over $200, I would say, somewhere around that range. But
Yeah.
again, I think a lot of people had that combination. They're like, yeah, I like 3 horses in this race. I'll just box the top, 3 for
Yeah.
first and second, and then spread below.
Good point.
So I think that's why it was. But like I said, it's good to call it Derby. It's good to be, have your hard work pay off. Spend all that time looking at the form and have it all come to fruition. And it was nice to see that some people that listen to the podcast, that follow us, tailed and hit some money too. So overall, I can't complain. It's better than losing money and ripping up tickets. So
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah,
A little more
I'll take
profit.
that.
Little more profit on your end. Obviously, I spread a little more. Did not get the windfall that you got, if you want to call it a windfall for a $105 trifecta or whatever it was. But yeah, it was nice to see those that follow us. Appreciate the follows, and obviously appreciate the listens to all of our podcasts. And I'm glad we got some feedback on those that tailed. And I just like getting the consensus on a race like the Derby. But I'll say my last little bit of piece here, and then I'm going to get off my soapbox here. I thought the price could have a little bit better. It's a 19 horse field. I just think the exotics fell the way it did. Like I said, with the 8 falling in the second position, regardless, you beat the favorite. Still didn't pay out where I thought it was going to be, and I would expect to see a little more. And I will just finally say that Burnham Square got the worst trip. Got a great trip. Got the worst bout of luck that a lot of horses do in the Derby when you're talking about 19. Brian did exactly what he was supposed to do at Burnham Square. Got him to the rail. Had him in a great position. And if it wasn't for the 6 coming over and checking him on the turn as he was making his move, there's no way in my mind that he would not have driven out and tipped out. Now, when, I don't know. I know he wouldn't have stayed on the rail because I know Brian is a rail kind of guy. He may have got that rail trip to make position, but he would have had to come out to get some ground because the rail was pretty much dead throughout the whole card. So it's no really news to a jockey that's out there 24/7 on the track. But I think just something to watch out for. Burnham Square is definitely a horse that just got a really, really bad outing. I think it could have made top 3, maybe the second position in my guesstimation. I would have loved to have seen, obviously, him get the second position for the tries and the exotics, and journalism third, which brings us to, coming into this week with the Preakness. I haven't checked the weather, and that's something I think I probably need to do before we get in. I handicapped under fair conditions because there's 3 turf races in the late pick 5. So I'd probably, maybe you can pull up the weather and let us know what it's going to look like for Pimlico on Saturday. No, we're not doing the Friday card, obviously. Black Eyed Susan is Friday. Typically, we would want to cover both the big races here for the ladies and the boys. But going to take a pass this week, and we're going to do kind of an abridged kind of podcast here. Bad weather circling through here. Possible tornado if we lose power and we don't finish up this podcast. You'll know exactly what's going on. So hopefully we can give you all of our picks before that happens, if that happens. But power outages wouldn't be a surprise with what's coming through here in our area. Derby.
Yeah.
I think I'm off on the Derby. I think that's all I really had to talk about. Just really upset with Burnham Square.
Yeah.
Sandman didn't get the run either that we thought in the mud. We'll see what happens on this weekend.
Yeah, 17-hole reign supreme, also undefeated.
Stays true.
Yeah,
unwinnable.
So
unwinnable.
Keep betting these 17-hole horses, and you're just going to keep ripping up tickets.
It's just one less ticket you got to play every year.
It makes it easy. It makes my job easy. Looks like no rain. Maybe a chance of rain on Saturday, but right now it looks like cloudy. So
okay,
obviously that can change the drop of a dime. But
you got temps on there at all?
What's that?
Does it have temperatures on there? It's supposed to be like warm weather, or are we talking?
That was like 80s or something like that. I'll pull it back up.
Yeah. If that's the case, like even if you do get a little rain, really nothing to really be too concerned about. If we're talking like colder weather, maybe it does change a little bit of the effects of some of these horses, depending on how much rain they get. If it's mild, I didn't see anything when I originally looked early in the week, but weather changes so fucking fast.
It says 87 degrees, and then looks like rain maybe in the morning. There's a 25% chance at like 5 a.m., 35% chance, and then after that it's nothing really. So
okay.
So a chance of sprinkles, but I would say if I was a betting man, I would say no rain. As of right now, at least. So
okay, let's roll with that, and let's go ahead and get into the Pimlico late pick five. Now, late pick five on Saturday for Saturday at Pimlico on Preakness Day is races 9 through 13, ending on the Preakness, not the typical 10 through 14 ending on the last race card of the day, which is typically everywhere. And I think we realized that last year when we did handicap the last 5 races, but the pick 5 was ending in the Preakness. So I just want to make sure that you've got that as correct as I do, because I'm only seeing pick 3s and pick 4s available in race 10. So pick 5 is only available in race 9. Okay.
Yep, agreed.
Okay.
Sorry, looking at this, I think I just put. Go ahead.
What'd you do? Did you throw away the form?
No. No, go ahead. You're good. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I'll get into the whole handicapping portion here of the podcast here. So race 9 on Saturday. It's 5 furlongs. This one's going to be on the turf. This is one of 3 races that are going to be on the turf. It's a sprint, the Jim McKay turf sprint. It's a purse of $125,000 for 3-year-olds and upwards. Now, track bias right now, Pimlico, short sample size. It always is when we come into the Preakness because they've only been open for a short period of time. If you look at last year, you can go off that, but it's always hard to say. Typically, speed kind of holds well in the short races. I think no matter what you're going on, what surface, it's the route races that you really have to be a little more concerned with on how it's going to play out, post position wise, as well as style of running. For this race, for a turf race, for 5 furlongs, it's all about early speed, and that's the way I kind of handicap this race. This took me basically to the outside post position for me to finally land on somebody here. So I'm going to go with 4 Harp. This is a horse been racing at Laurel, right? And I had a few one at Aqueduct and Parks. Listen, nothing really sexy as far as where it's been running, but wasn't a $100,000 non-graded stakes race last time out. That was the first time out for 2025. Won on a front end move with fractions of 21 and 4, 44 and 2, and a flat 56 with a 102 and 2, winning by a length and 3/4. I wouldn't say it was dwindling the lead, just kind of a maintain the lead in the distance throughout the race. Pressed early, fractions were sharp. And this is Abner Aderno and Robert Reed. And Robert Reed always has horses here at this track, and I would not be surprised for this horse to win. Really good workout, especially coming into the race on May 10th. 3 furlongs and 35 and 3. That's your bullet workout, best of 12 that day. This is going to be your front runner. It's on the 9 position. Goes a little against, I guess, typically as far as post position bias, but I still think it's the best horse in the race, and I'm going to put the 9 on top. Underneath, in no particular order, I will go the rail horse, Boats a Rockin' at 20-1 for Angel Rodriguez. 90 days away, longer, 90 days plus for Brandon Culp at 27% win, 58% in the money. 3 back on October 5th. That was a nice 55 and 3. That was fractions of 21 and 2, and 44 flat for 5 furlongs with a 91 speed figure. Won that race, albeit it was a cheap allowance race. This horse is kind of moving up in class. Obviously, it is a jump up, but I do like just the statistics when it comes to speed at the rail. So I'll go with that for a chance to hit a tag underneath. I like the 3 as well. Honeyquist. You got to go all the way back to July for the form I'm looking for, but it's the last time this horse ran on the turf, and they've been running it on the turf at 4.5 furlongs. I'm going to take this horse with Arnaldo Bocachica. Yeah, it's 30-1. I think I'm going to get a price on Honeyquist. I like it. The workout, 3 furlongs and 35 and 3. Book it. I'm going to take that one, and then I'm going to give you my last pick, which would be the 6 Coppola, which is the favorite. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Has been running in grade 2, should dominate this race. I see you laughing. This should be your winner, but I'm all about prices at Pimlico. This one makes the most sense. Gulfstream Park, Keeneland, and Churchill, last 3. All 3 got a non-graded stakes race, 2 grade 2 races. The grade 2 is not really doing well, but in the non-graded stakes race of 165,000, wins pretty handily. It probably makes the most sense here, but let's beat Umberto again in a disappointing second or third. So those are my picks. Let's see if we can get some prices. 9 with the 1, 3, 6.
I'm laughing because I don't think we could be more misaligned in.
Yeah, no, I figured as much.
Yeah,
I figured we were going to be swinging ways. I'm sure if I know you before you even give the picks, I think you probably like the 6, you probably like the 4, and you probably like the 5.
I don't have any 3 of those horses on my.
Well,
I have the 4.
Okay, the 4.
So I handicapped it a little bit different. I know you're big on the speed on the turf races, but there are so many speed horses in this race that have to go the front and win. That kind of deterred me from going that strategy because usually I'm kind of on par with that as well. I see like 4 horses in this race that just need to get the front end to win, and if all 4 of them go, or you're going to see a speed duel and they're just going to burn each other out. So that's the way I handicapped it. That's why I went a different route, and I went at a decent price here in the first race, and that's why I was kind of confused because I took the morning line odds, and I put the 10 on there, but I meant to put the 4. That's what I was looking at before. So the 4 is 10-1, so I had 10 in the first
Oh,
spot. Yeah.
the four,
Um,
Woody.
yeah, so I took the 4 on top Witty at 10-1, which I think is a crazy price for this horse, especially since they've been very, very good as of late. 3 speed figures in the 90s in their last 4 races. One of them was an 88. But again, you're looking at the type of races that they're running, and they do not need the lead, and they will not be on the front end to win this race. So, be that I see a ton of speed here, and I think there's going to be a duel, and they're going to just outkick each other. I'm going to take somebody that's going to close. You're getting Flavian Pratt aboard, and this horse came from 10 back and lost by almost 2 lengths last time out. If I know Flavian, he's going to put this horse in a way better position in this race. I think he's going to obviously. He's obviously going to place his horse a lot closer to the lead, but not on the lead. I think they'll be sitting mid-pack if I had a guess. And, hopefully have enough down the stretch to go ahead and kick away once everybody starts dying out. So I like the 4. That's my top pick. Just I think a little bit of a strategy change, not really strategy change, but position change when they break. I like the 2 underneath. No Nay Hudson. That's Alvarado and Wesley Ward. Again, another horse that's going to come from mid pack that's going to close. They did that last time out. The speed figures have been great the last 3 races. The reason it didn't get the nod for me is Flavian rode this horse once before. He's going on the 4 instead of the 2. Junior Alvarado is obviously aboard now, and nothing against Junior Alvarado, great jockey, so that's why I think he's going to be underneath and clean up some of the plays or show money. But again, very consistent in the last 4 races and very close every single time, within the money or within striking distance each time. So the 2 makes a lot of sense for me. And then I like the 8 all the way on the outside here, right next to your horse, Mattingly, which is Paco Lopez and Joe Orsino. Again, I did take a speed horse because last time out they did have success getting to the front a little bit closer. I mean, they ran into a 20-4 quarter speed, which I think is crazy. And I think that's probably what you're going to get on Saturday.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
think, again, you're just going to sit patient. You're going to be right there. You're going to let them burn each other out. And Paco's going to be in a prime spot to potentially to move up and close down the stretch. So I think he's going to sit stalking. Like I said, I don't think this horse is going to go to the front. They might try to steal it themselves, but I doubt it because I just don't think they're going to be fast enough to do so. But last time out, 95 speed figure at the 5 furlongs on the turf, fits the condition well. Paco Lopez, obviously back aboard. A lot of things that I looked at it, it made a lot of sense for an underneath play for me. So 8-1 price. So like I said, we couldn't be more misaligned here. It might be a spread race if you're going and playing the pick 5. But yeah, I and again, price plays too. I mean, the 4 is 10-1. So, I'm fading the favorite here in this race.
I think it's a great all race if you're playing the horizontal bet here. I think there's so much more value. 20-1, 10-1, and 30-1s, 5-1s. I think there's really good pricing that you could get to kickstart off your pick 5. So I would definitely spread in here. And you're right, there are 4 horses that like to go to the front, and those are the 4 I took. If anybody's going to close, it would be the 4 if I was looking at a closer in this race. Unfortunately, I'm just sticking with the speed, and I'm thinking that one of these 4 is going to hang on. I think out of any of them, the 9 actually has the best. You should be looking at a 22 flat quarter, and they should be winging going to the half as well after the half. So yeah, pretty much a spread race, but I'm not mad at that because I think there's going to be pricing. There's going to be some chalks in this sequence. And there's going to be some bombs, and I think this is one of the bomb races right here. And that's what I would do is go for the price. Don't be afraid of the odds. Race 10, mile and a 16th. This is the Sir Barton Stakes, purse of $100,000 for 3-year-olds. Tougher race maybe in some aspects, depending on how you want to look at it. If you're looking at it from like pace of race on this one. Now bias on this one, when we go to dirt races, would be on closers. So now I'm looking for a closer on the dirt, especially in a race like this where there really is, I guess there's maybe one true speed horse that would like to go to the front, but even that horse is probably a little more tactical and could sit off if it wants to. So kind of a conundrum here because there's really no pace to run down. However, they all kind of like to run at the same kind of pace. So this could be a free-for-all coming down the stretch. I'm going to take the 9 on this one as well. Just a fair shake. Jaime Rodriguez for Daniel McKenzie. I think I just like the body of work and the small sample size you're working at. A 47,000 maiden race that it won at Laurel. Then it jumped up to 150,000 non-graded stakes race first time out, 32. Did get an improved speed figure. Then on an optional claiming 62,000, wins that race at a mile and the 16th. So we're progressively moving up. Goes to the mile and the eighth, a little more distance. Showed some promise. Gave way a little bit at the end, and now we're going back to the mile and the 16th. I think that's key, and I think the distance is exactly where Mackenzie was actually looking to get this horse positioned in for the next race. I think it's a great race to put it in a non-graded stakes race for $100,000. And I just like the outside post position. I think it's going to sit out well, and I like Jaime Rodriguez. So like. That's where I got the 9 on top. Not convinced it could possibly bury these, but it should be close, and it just slightly gets the nod on the ones I like. I also like the 8 right next door, which is Authentic Gallop. Obviously, out of Authentic, the distance is not a question. This horse has been running nothing but route races since August of 24. And honestly, it really hasn't shown much until it finally broke its maiden. Took a little longer than I think they expected it to. Finally broke its maiden, then kind of a nice third in a mile and the 16th. That was on an optional claiming 100,000. Then wins an optional claiming 150,000 non-winners condition, and then a disappointing Virginia Derby. I think that was just kind of like hopes and dreams, and now they're recalibrated and have this horse back position. At 8-1 with Kendrick Carmouche for Tom Amoss, I'm not going to leave it off the ticket. I think this one has a good, strong chance at hitting the board and getting a payday. The 5 is a great one, too. Bold Division at 30-1. Yeah, it's Forrest Boyce for Rodolfo Sanchez Salomon. But however, the horse does have some good ground closing ability. The late pace figures are strong, 85, 91, 87. I know it's been strictly running at Laurel. A lot of these horses have been running there. They're not shipping in from these bigger tracks on bigger races, but 150,000 non-graded stakes race, big disappointment last time out. Prior to that, ran good. Maybe I could draw the line in the last race. Hopefully it hits. I'm looking for a price on that one too. And then last but not least, I'll go with the 7. Him. This one makes the most sense here. That's going to do well. Horse really hasn't been worse than 2 lengths off the finish or winning by 4 lengths on debut at 6 furlongs. The route, I don't know. I'm really not convinced yet. I think the mile on the 16th is still a question. 2 fast tracks last time out at a non-graded stakes race, $200,000. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I think the horse is the classy of the bunch here. I like the workout 46-4 at Churchill for 4 furlongs in May 10th since its last race. And it's Ron Moquette and Louis Size, and they make a lot of sense at 4-1. But I'm thinking on the underneath play. I want to take the 9 at a price and see if I can get a nice score here. So give me the 9 on top. Give me with the 8-5-7.
Yeah, I like that. Similar, but a little different. I went with the 1. I took the rails position here. I know the horse just broke their maiden at 7 furlongs. They won by 7.25 going away. Todd Pletcher, Johnny V. If there's anybody I want on the front end, it's going to be Johnny V to nurse the speed. I was really looking. I like the 9 a lot, and I'll talk about the 9 just like you did after this. But
Okay.
I like the workouts coming into the race. They're very consistent, fast workouts, some bullet workouts there. Training really, really well coming into the race. Usually I like to see another race going into, something like this and stepping up in competition. But the way they're working out, coming off of a big win, obviously a tactic change that they had since the first race that they ran, and improved. So I like what I'm seeing there from an improvement standpoint, and from the workouts. I don't think I need to see another one. I think I'm pretty much sold that the 1's got a really good shot in this race. So I've got the 1 on top, and then I've got the 9 underneath. Like you said, the 9 makes a ton of sense. They're improving. Start off with an 81 speed figure, back-to-back 82s, and then just ran their best race while they stepped up in the 150,000 stakes race, at a mile and an eighth, and they just came up short. So, I think Jaime Rodriguez is definitely going to be going, and he knows when he needs to pull the trigger. It was a great ride last time. Just ran out of gas. Not even ran out of gas, just ran out of time late in that race. So I like the 9 underneath. And the other one I like underneath, I think it's probably, no real surprise there, but like you said, the 7, it makes a ton of sense as well. It's Saez coming aboard again for Ron Moquette, and I'm a big fan of Ron Moquette. And, Saez, again, is going to put this horse very close to the front. I don't know if they're going to be fast enough to keep up with the 1 at the rail, but I think they're going to be damn close. But you can see that this horse also wins off the speed as well. They broke their maiden, sitting 2 lengths back and waiting and patiently riding, and ended up winning by 4 lengths. So I like, a couple different horses in here, a little bit tougher for me to call, just like the first race was. Like you said, I think we're going to see some prices, but yeah, I'll go 1 with the 4 and the 9 in this race.
Yeah, your 1 is interesting, and I fell into the same position as you. Obviously improved off of the maiden race, speed figure of 78 to 88.
Mm-hmm.
The horse looks like it wants more distance. It's screaming for more distance. Probably can handle more distance. And the fact that the sire, the dam, excuse me, blossomed an unraced mare out of deputy minister has produced a lot of winners. 11
Mm-hmm.
starters, 10 winners, 4 stakes winners. So I really wanted to put this one on the ticket. Maybe it's for me on the underneath side still. I just wanted to see one more like you did. You're willing to take the shot and actually put this one. Plus, it's a front runner, and I'm looking at closers in this race. So we probably are seeing the same things. I'm just looking at a different bias on track than you. But this one would have been my top pick had it been a sprint. That's kind of where I was looking at.
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, I like it. I think there's going to be some. I think there's going to be, like I said, prices all day long. We're eventually going to get into this chalk. That's probably going to be the eventual winner here that we're going to get to. Let's go to the third leg of the pick five, race 11. It's a mile on the turf. It's the James Murphy Stakes, purse of $100,000 for 3-year-olds. This one, I like the 7, Reagan's Wit. Maybe kind of a chalk play. Maybe this is the one. It's probably the one I'm probably most convinced at a lower odds that I feel has the best opportunity. Yes, we're going the distance here at a mile, kind of splitting the hairs between the 6 furlong, 7 furlong races to the mile and an eighth, right in the middle. So where do we go as far as track bias? I'm really going with Jose Ortiz and Sherry DeVoe. Love the combination. They work well together. Not in the W column as much as they'd like when they team up, but they're definitely hitting the board a lot of times. And this one makes a lot of sense. 88, 99, and 89 speed figure. Took a little, step back last time out in the grade 3 at Keeneland. And I don't think the horse really ran that bad. Just really had to fight through a lot of traffic and try to carve out its piece. It didn't get the dream trip like it did in its maiden race to be able to come off the pace and win, or in the Columbia non-graded stakes race. It kind of did that too and just missed by a neck. This last race just didn't work out the way it needed to. So, I mean, prime power number 1 for this horse, Jose Ortiz. The workouts are fairly average, pedestrian at best, but still, that's what the horse does. I just like the surface. I like the way the distance sets up for this horse, and I think the pace sets up well as a mid-pack, maybe a little forwardly placed. Probably won't see it 13 lengths back like it did in January of this year, but I think they're going to be up a little closer, and I think they're going to run them down. Have an improvement over that last race, a disappointing 4th by only 3 lengths. So that's my top pick. I'll take the 7 on top. I do like the 5. These are in no order. I like End of Romance. This one's with Johnny V coming off the pace. Another one that maybe just missed by a length. Came in 5th, but was only a length off in a non-graded stakes race at Aqueduct last time out. That was on the turf. That was the second time after shipping in from Great Britain. I just like the opportunity here for Grand Motion and Velasquez. I think the 6 is interesting too. So Soleil Volant. This one getting some really, really bad trips in optional claiming races, and then an allowance race got a little bit of an opportunity, a little better. You can scratch out the synthetic and maybe say maybe that wasn't it, but it's no better than the race before that was turf, which were both 6th place finishes 3 lengths off. I just think it's the timing wise, and you need a better jockey, and you're getting that with Flavian Pratt, and I think it's going to work out well for them in the long run. So I do like the 6 to hit the board. And then last but not least, Currahee, that's the 8. Maybe a little bias here also just for the fact that it's Currahee. But I will tell you that 40 to 90 days away, Brittany Russell, 26% in the win column, 57% in hitting the money. And that's what I really like on a horse that kind of got a bad trip going out to the front last time and failed. It's going back to the non-Lasix race, which, listen, it broke its maiden on non-Lasix. I think the horse is fine on or off the Lasix. And the distance is a little better going a mile versus the mile and the 16th. So I like the cut back in distance a little bit. And I just this one makes a lot of sense to me. 48-4 workout on May 10th coming in. It was 3rd of 29. I think that was a nice freshening up here for Brittany Russell and Louis Saez at 8-1. So those are my top 4 picks, and probably in that order. 7 the most confident with the 5, 8, and 6.
I'm also on the 7. I think the 7 makes a lot of sense here for everything you said there.
All right.
I think this horse, when you look at the body of work, right, 4 races. After they broke their maiden, they kind of found a new horse, and that when they broke their maiden, they were well off the lead, and they were 12 lengths off the lead, and then ended up winning by 8 lengths. So,
Yeah.
This horse has got some real good turn of foot. You can say what you want about the class that it was running in, but this horse just lost to Zulu Kingdom by a neck. I think there's a lot to really hang your hat on and say, yeah, this horse has got a really good opportunity dropping to an ungraded stakes race from, a grade 3. So I like the drop down here. I like, what this horse has done in the last 3 races, if you look at it. And, ever since Jose got the mount, they've had some pretty good success, even with, 1 win in the win column. They've all been valiant efforts in each race. So I like this drop down here at Sherry DeVoe and Jose Ortiz teaming up. Obviously, everybody knows what the combination did, at the fairgrounds and in the Midwest. So I'll be all over it. I like the 3. I think this is going to be your rabbit. I think there's going to be a tactic change here, and you're going to see Irad go out there and try to wheel and deal. It's for Wesley Ward. Again, you know how Wesley likes to train that speed into his horses any chance he gets. You see it in the spring when he's got all the babies and he's got, running at Keeneland. You see these horses go out there and just wing it. And a lot of times they have a lot of success, and that's what you're going to see, I think, on Saturday. They've run in grade 3s and grade 2s. Again, I like the drop down in class. And Wesley Ward's got some really good statistics when it comes to non-graded stakes races. So, I think a lot of things you're looking at the form when they run at the mile, they do some really good work. Maybe a little bit too much distance in the last race. And I'm going to take this horse. I think it's going to be the rabbit. This is the horse you're going to have to chase down and beat. So I think it's going to be a battle of the Ortiz brothers there coming down to the stretch. And then I also have the 9 on there. It's 15-1 price. But again, looking at this horse, I think they really have. They're not showing it in the wins and losses, right? You've got 2 wins in very light class, but Victor Carrasco rides obviously on the East Coast there. A lot of these races you see him, he just tries really, really hard. This horse is really not missing by much either, except for the last race, right? They took a big step up. And just I don't think they got the trip they wanted. I think they need to sit stalking and stay out of harm's way when it's coming down the stretch. Yeah. But again, if you sit three lengths off the lead and you've got some guys going at it up top, this horse can definitely go down and close. And I think, the added distance is going to help, first time at a route for the combination here. And again, if you're going to be closing into the speed, you want a little extra distance to do it. So I'm going to take a shot at 15-1. I was pretty sold on the first 2 that I had there. And then I want something that's going to juice it up and that I think has a chance, to juice up the exacta or try for me. So I'm going to take a swing with Victor Carrasco and Smith Hamilton or Hamilton Smith.
I like it either way. Smith Hamilton or Hamilton Smith.
Yeah, Hamilton Smith, I think, is the name. But
yes, yeah. So it is Hamilton Smith. The 9 is interesting to me in that, and everything you just said there. I mean, the speed figures don't really show a lot on there, but I mean, first time going at a route for Hamilton Smith.
Yep.
24% win, 65% hitting the board. So pulls the trigger off of these sprint to routes at the right time when the horse, I guess, is ready to start taking that next step. Now, the disappointing last race, a little bit of a setback here, and you're going to get some decent odds at this horse, probably in this field as well. Nice price play underneath, in my opinion. I know as well as yours underneath.
And also with that horse, you also have to look at the races that they didn't have their best stuff is when they were running on the dirt.
Correct.
So when they put this horse on the turf, they're 2 for 2. So
yep.
So
getting back to his preferred surface is ideal here. Yeah.
So I think again, going around. A little added distance, you get onto the preferred surface. It's a good, just a good opportunity for a horse that's 15-1 that might, juice up your exotics for you. So.
Interesting race. It's an interesting race. If you want to play the favorite in this race, I think it really makes the most sense. 75% win percentage in these races, 100% hitting the board. So the 7, if it does go off the odds on favorite, which I think it will, probably is your lock in the pick 5, and we're both dialed in on top with that horse. We can go ahead and move on to the 12th race, 1 prior here, leg 4 of the pick 5. This one is 1 mile and an 1/8 on the turf. It's the grade 3 dinner party, purse of $250,000 for 3-year-olds and upwards. I'll let you start on this one here because my notes have wiped away.
Okay. I've got the 10 on top here. I've got Junior Alvarado. This is Fort Washington for Claude McGahee. Last race was very telling of what this horse is capable of, right? I mean, they ran into not the fastest fractions, but good enough fractions that I was like, okay. They obviously had very high hopes for this horse, right? They ran in a grade 1, they ran in a grade 2. They haven't gotten the job done on a consistent level, but they're very, very close every single race. Even when they don't have their best stuff, they're still finishing second or third, or just off by a neck or a length and a half or whatever. So be it. They've got something here with this horse. I think it's a good opportunity, especially if you look at that last race, because if they run similar, I think they're going to run really big at a 5-1 price. And you're getting Junior Alvarado, who obviously doesn't have a mount in the next race or doesn't have the mount he wants in the next race. So I think, I think he's going to ride really, really hard. He's going to make up that money that he's losing for the Preakness. And then I've got underneath a couple different horses. I've got the one, I think the one at a price of 12-1 with Luis Saez. Horse coming off its best race it's ran in his career, 103 speed figure. Took the lead at the first call and really didn't look back. That's going to be, again, very indicative of what you're going to see on Saturday. They're going to try to run that similar race. You're dropping down in distance a little bit here too, which is nice. I think this horse is getting a little bit of relief there. So they might be able to, pull the trigger earlier and try to take the lead a little bit quicker. But again, this horse in the last 3 races have run really, really great speed figures. You're getting Saez, who's going to be very aggressive in this race. It's a Diamato horse. He's had some success in the Midwest here as well. And I like what I'm seeing there. I think, again, tactic change. This horse might be the one on the front end, and they're going to have to go catch that one. And I also like the 6. I think the 6, obviously, it makes a lot of sense here. Flavian Pratt on Veliknikov. This horse is ridden in all the big races, and it's gotten a big opportunity in each of them, but they just have not done it. They have not gotten the job done. But, a significant drop in class. You're getting some good speed figures here. And, again, if you've watched racing, you've seen this horse race on multiple occasions and it's been talked about every single race, but then they just end up disappointing. I think this is a good opportunity in a grade 3 for them to just go ahead and have a better race and get back on their winning ways, or just have some success and start that transition over here. But a lot of races under their card here, under their belt, a very well-raced horse, but again, a very capable horse. And again, you're getting Flavian Pratt aboard to hopefully get them back on their winning ways here. So that's where I landed, 10 with the 1 and the 6.
10-1-6. I actually like the 8 in this race, Crystal Quest. This is Michael Trombetta, Paco Lopez. Horse has been running in a lot of non-graded stakes races. Ran in the Hall of Fame last year in August, which was a grade 2, kind of a disappointing 5th by 3 lengths. But this is a horse that's going to be coming off the pace. And the turf closers, you got to be near the outside on these turf closers that are coming from way back. And I think this one's actually going to be way back early, and I think there's pace to run down. I really like the workouts coming in on May 3rd. Excuse me, minute and 2 fifths for 5 furlongs and a 48 flat for 4 furlongs. The horse just seems to always get these kind of weird trips and bobbled starts, things of that nature. It gets has to circle wide, 5-6 horses wide to try to make up distance. And in the races where it's actually hitting the board and doing well, it's running pretty much trouble-free. I think Paco hopefully gets it in a smart position. And I think the outside position or mid-outside position is going to bode well for where he can carve out his piece and stay away from trouble on the inside early. So let's give it a shot with the 8. It's going to be 10-1. It's another one of these price plays that I really, really like. I do like the one Dive and Propos. The problem here is that it's speed at the rail. It's speed that can definitely, looks like it's going to be able to hold on the cutback from 1.5 miles going to 1 mile and 1/8. I think that's going to help out drastically. I think Saez is a really good smart rider when he has an opportunity to go at or near the front and knows when to pull the trigger. I just don't like the shipping in from Santa Anita Del Mar, and I don't know what to expect first time shipping in. That's kind of a head scratcher for me, but as of late, the form looks good. Speed figures are good, so I definitely want to have it on the ticket at 12-1 morning line. I think the 3 is interesting too. Signator. Don't know who the rider is in this race yet, but I will tell you that Shug McGahee on these long turf races, this horse is 2 for 2 since going to the turf. Yeah, they're not the greatest, classiest races you're going to see. It's an optional claiming 100,000 condition on winners, and then you have a 100,000 non-graded stakes race. Both of those are throughout this year, so the horse is 2 for 2. I like where this horse is sitting at. I know it's a big jump up, but I think this is one that could definitely run him down, and I like the closers, as I said, coming off and running down the speed that should be there. And then, of course, I like the 10 Fort Washington. How can I not like a horse that likes to pick up 15, 16 lengths down the stretch, on the back stretch and down the stretch, and being able to run down horses all day long? Still running great workouts for this horse. 6-year-old out of Warfront. 4 furlongs and 47-2 on May 4th. Horse just continues to keep working. Strong improvements. Another one for Shug and Junior Alvarado. This, out of the 4 of them, make the most sense. I'm just kind of throwing some big prices on top. Would not be surprised if the 10 is your winner in here. It's going to be a spread race for me in this one with the 1, 3, 8, and 10. We'll figure out the combination come the end of the Saturday when we're getting closer to Preakness and seeing how the turf is held up the rest of the day. Last race of the day, we can go to race 13. This is your Preakness, your big boy. Obviously, 1 mile and 3/16. This one's grade 1, purse of $2 million for 3-year-olds. Now, it almost looks like this is the race journalism should win to me. This is the one more so than in the Kentucky Derby. This looks like the one that should be the lock. A lot of people were more convinced. I think you're going to have a lot of people that are more convinced now that it came second in the Derby. that this one should win. But I'm going to go against journalism again, and I'm going to take another horse on top over that I think is actually going to be able to beat. Who that's going to be is going to be one of these three. It's all going to depend on pace. I think the one has a great shot, goal oriented. I really like this horse at first, and now I'm looking at the conditions that if it rains, it doesn't rain, it's not going to rain. I just really like what the horse did on a sloppy track first time going around. Probably can do the same thing and make up some ground a little better. Almost like what a Sovereignty did to journalism. Probably going to get the jump same time and still be able to surpass. I think goal oriented actually has it, and then journalism possibly second. I also like the 4. Heart of Honor is a horse that it's kind of untested. You really don't know what it is about. It's shipping in from maiden. We don't know anything. It's like a UAE Derby horse that you kind of like and then doesn't show up in the Derby. I really didn't like the way the horse took to the track at Pimlico when I saw the workout or the jog or gallop. Horse was all over the place, totally distracted, did not look comfortable. But on paper, this horse makes really, really a lot of sense. And at 12-1, I like it to possibly upset the field. So I'm going to have the 4 also in the top position. And last but not least, I'm going to take Sandman, who can definitely come off the pace. And this is a race I'm looking for a closer on the route with some early speed that it'd be able to run down. Didn't do well in the Derby. I can scratch that race off because it's the Derby. And we've seen horses bounce back that are big time closers that don't produce in the Derby that come back in the Preakness or even the Belmont and run big races. And this is going to be the one I'm going to go with Sandman. So I'm also going to put the 7 on top. So my combinations here, honestly, are going to be the 7, the 1, and the 4 on top, the 2 second, just like the Derby, and then the all button for third. Maybe we'll get cute and do some single keys with the 2 and a few in the third position for a little more money. But going to go against journalism, and it's nothing against journalism. It really isn't. Yeah, the only mistake I guess you want to call out is that maybe moved a little too soon in that race in the Derby. If you really wanted to critique it, really ran exactly with the race. I think the owners and McCarthy were very excited on how the race was run with Umberto. I don't think there's any complaints on what he did. He did exactly what he needed to do. Just wasn't the best horse in the first Saturday in May. I just don't think it's going to be the best horse in the this Saturday at the Preakness.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'm also going to fade journalism. I'll throw it in the second spot. I think this is like you said, this is a race that this horse should win. They obviously ran huge in the Derby, but again, I'll throw it underneath. I landed on the 6, River Thames. I like the 6 a lot here. I think if you watch Preakness last year, Irad gave a heck of a ride in the Preakness and came up a little bit short. And, this horse, last time out, they were a little bit further back than they normally were.
Yeah.
But they were still able to gobble up the ground. They only lost by 3/4 of a length in the bluegrass. And I think, you're obviously stretching out here. You're going to get a little bit more opportunity to go ahead and close in if you need to. So maybe there's not necessarily going to be a tactic change, but I think they're going to sit in the same spot. And you're going to get Irad riding very hard down the stretch and trying to gobble up as much ground as possible. So I really like the 6 here. I think this is a good opportunity for them. They ran great in the Fountain of Youth as well. Obviously just came short of the Kentucky Derby winner, Sovereignty, in that race. I just think, again, this horse, it looks the part, and I think, I'm willing to take a shot on Irad, in a position like this. So the 6 is my top choice. I've got a couple underneath. I like the 1. Bob Baffert seems to have his way when it comes to the Preakness. This horse looks very, very solid. Definitely your speed in the race, right? They're going to try to go to the front just like they did last time out. They ran at their best speed figure at 104 and battled pretty much the entire way. It wasn't like they had a gaping lead and they're able to hold on and won by 3/4 of a length. I just think that they might run out of gas stretching out, kind of what they saw in that last race. But again, I think they could hold on to, second or third. So I like it underneath a lot. Like I said, I'm throwing journalism underneath as well. Again, this horse ran huge in the Kentucky Derby. They weave through a ton of traffic. It's a huge race, a big field. You're shortening that up, and definitely was coming with some pace. But, ultimately, I don't know. I something about this horse, it just makes me feel like second place is kind of where they're going to be. Maybe even third place, because they kind of ran out of gas. I think if you give Baeza even more ground, they ended up passing the
Agreed.
8 there in that race. So
Agreed.
something to look at there, right? I mean, they closed and they had a lot of gas, but not as enough as the third place horse in that race. So I've got the 2 underneath, and then the other one that I was looking at is all the way to the outside, and that's going to be Clever again. That's the 8 here. this is another horse that's going to go to the front. So I think that's also going to tap the speed of the one, and they're just going to go at it and battle. One of them I feel like is going to be able to hold on. One of them is going to get the best of each other. Maybe there's going to be a tactic change by one of them. I don't know. But again, this horse wins on the front end, back-to-back races where they did that same exact thing and got the job done. They almost won with Rosario, so that's automatically a step up in my mind because the guy hasn't won forever. As soon as Jose gets aboard, they start winning races. So they've got the winning formula dialed in. They won the Hot Springs, obviously. They won by 4 lengths by doing what they've done. It's to be determined with the added distance how this horse is going to respond. But I don't see why this horse won't go down and try to wheel and deal. So I really like the 8 as well there.
We're both following with journalism second. I also like what you said third. I'm going to give it a little more benefit of the doubt for a second position due to the fact that we are cutting it back a half a panel as well.
Yeah.
So maybe
I might even opt in come race time. I might even opt in on taking, the 8 or not the 8, the 2 out of second journalism out of second place.
Yeah.
And throwing Sandman in second place.
Okay.
Just kind of a toss up. I don't want to take every combination out there. Right? It's only a 9-horse field, right? 9-horse field. So, but I'm kind of flip flopping. I think Sandman has done everything right, like you said, too, coming into the race.
No, and there's the
flicker.
Power's about to go out.
Yeah, it's a good thing we're almost done here. Yeah, I mean, so like I said, I might flip flop. I might put Sandman in the second position and maybe just have journalism for second. But
I'm not mad at
how
that.
The track plays out.
I'm not mad at that. I think Sandman and journalism figure to be in it, and I think there's going to be a bond that's going to hit in there somewhere, either in the first or third position, to make it at least worthwhile.
Right.
But definitely not going to have journalism on top. So if you like journalism, you can discard everything we just covered because we're both faded. And that's your late pick five at Pimlico for Saturday in your Preakness Stakes for 2025. We've got Belmont in 3 weeks, and I'm sure we may possibly do a podcast prior to that one. We'll see how it goes. But podcasts will probably be a little farther and free between, probably every other week. So people have been asking what's going on. Well, it's not weekly. We're hitting our stride right now because it's obviously, the Triple Crown. And it's not really a Triple Crown because we're not having the winner of the Kentucky Derby in this Preakness here. So lose a little luster, but there's still big races. We're going to cover them. And then we always get the normal lull until we hit like some of the bigger stakes races moving forward. Obviously, when Saratoga starts, we're going to want to talk about Saratoga and give you all kinds of horses that aren't going to win because we've been struggling at Saratoga for the last couple of years. Kid does better than I do at Saratoga. We'll keep you guys posted. Keep watching on X. Make sure you find out when we're going to be doing our podcast. We'll keep letting you guys know, and then we'll pick it back up prior into Breeders' Cup. Other than that, Kid, you got anything to end out with?
No, I was just going to say at the top on that, obviously I have a child now, so my time is a little bit more limited than it was. So it's, partially to blame on me, but as much as we can, we do this for fun and for all the listeners. So, as much as we can get in, we will, but, life changes a little bit. So,
and we don't want to just, we don't want to just quit. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're just going to take it back a little bit. So appreciate the followers. Appreciate you, Kid. Good luck to everybody this weekend on your tickets. And until the next time we see you.